What's going on, everybody? AJ Capasso here from Coventry Circle Paranormal, and I'm here with my goofy old friend.
Robin from Haffern Paranormal, Mr. Late.
Do that to you. I just had to. That was a great intro for you, man. Sorry. Hey, I just wanted to apologize to everybody if for some reason the audio starts to crack for some, I don't know, weird thing. Just wanted to let you guys know we've been having a little trouble with Streamyard today. But I want to do a quick shout out to Parapost Network. If you guys haven't checked out Parapost Network Central on Facebook, also we have it for iOS and Android on all social media platforms. But head over to Parapost Network Central on Facebook. It's the home of amazing paranormal podcasts. That's where we're broadcasting from right now. We wanted to give a shout out to a couple of great teams that we work with there. This first one, a little hard to see, PD Paranormal. Wanted to shout out our PD Region Paranormal, my apology. Also wanted to shout out to Night Watchers Paranormal Australia. Like I said, we have the Parapost logo right there, baby. And I want to do shout out to Paranormal Consultant. And also one more that I do not have the overlay yet for is Global United Foundation, the paranormal organization. Those guys over there are absolutely amazing. Like I said, I do apologize. We have been trying to rush because of the StreamYard. I want to shout out to...
a shout out to Brian John Laverty from Huntophobia Canada.
Absolutely. Big news for me and Robin. He officially brought us in to behind the scenes with Parapost to help it grow, expand. And that's what we hope to do, help all the podcasts on there to grow. It's going to be amazing. And this year is just going to take off and we can't wait. Also want to give a shout out to Mr. and Mrs. AP Variety Channel on YouTube for always helping out all the channels from around the world grow their audience, grow their viewers. They are awesome people. They will be on the podcast soon. But I want to talk about our guest for today. He's been on before. He's our official sponsor. His name is Nigel Mortimer. He is the founder, author, and builder of the FCD Ghost Boxes. So he's from the UK, and let me bring him in right now. What's going on, Nigel? How are you?
Hello, Robin. Hi, everyone.
So, Nigel, the first thing I want to say to you is that you were on here before. You were discussing the FCD MK4 Plus adjustable suite Ghost Box / portal, and I see that you have it behind you right there. But can you tell everybody the huge announcement about what you just added to make it 10 times better than it already was? And I don't even know how you could make it 10 times better, but please explain, please.
As you know, guys, I have this sort of like never-ending demon that's on my back where, you know, because the Mark 4 Plus adjustable was so sort of successful in its own right, I'm just so busy. But every ITC developer will tell you the same story, really. You've always got to try and be improving things. You've always got to have that little niggling thing in your mind that you want to add a little bit more or take something away and replace it or just keep improving, you know, whatever you do. Device is. And I've had this sort of thought in the back of my mind for, well, over a year really now, and that's that you get a lot of people that are, you know, building ghost boxes and Rem Pods and all sorts of other devices that they use in the paranormal field out there. But I thought to myself, wouldn't it be good if you could actually put the Rem Pod in the ghost box? But there's one massive problem, and everybody that designs these ghost boxes, I don't know if I've already told you, will say to you, is that, well, because of the very nature of a Rem Pod, it's picking up the electrostatic field, basically, the electromagnetic field that's around, that spirit can actually affect, and then you pick up the signals from. Well, they'll say that because you've already got an electronic device there, which is the ghost box, remember, so it's a radio wave device, you're not going to be able to really put a Rem Pod in it. Well, you can and you can't. It's true. You can't use it as a ghost box at the same time as you can use it as a Rem Pod. So what I've done with this design is to actually add in the Rem, and it will work in the same vicinity as the ghost box. It will use the same aerial as the ghost box, which, as you know, on the Mark 4 Plus just before, it only had a loop antenna, which was a wire basically for the aerial.
Yeah.
Now, in the new design, because we have to do for the Rem Pod, and you'll see in a minute why, we have to use a telescopic, antenna that's actually built into the device. And it works. We tested it. We took it to one of our local haunted locations, which is a little churchyard up the road. We had a little session. I've not uploaded that onto YouTube yet, but because of time again, but it is coming and you'll see it working in the field. But I thought for you guys tonight, we can give a little demo of it.
Absolutely. There's nothing, I must admit, well, I don't mean it in a bad way when I say this, but there's nothing worse than when you're going on an investigation. And I've done it loads of times. And you go in somewhere and you're trying to run your camera, you're trying to put your spirit box or your ghost box down, then you're trying to put a Rem Pod there, and you're trying to, and you're dealing with 3 or 4 different pieces of equipment at once. And for that to have it apart from the camera, all in there is amazing.
Also, you've got a batteries for each device, so you're talking extra expense there and taking more batteries to use each device. That was in the back of my mind, Robin, at the time of building this, is because also it helped me improve the Mark IV Plus adjustable Ghost Box portal on its own, in that the device itself works perfectly, but you had to have 4 AA batteries at 6 volts to operate the device. Now, because I've incorporated the Rem Pod, which works on a 9 volt DC supply, the radio system has been upgraded inside it to work off the 1 battery. So the 1 battery is supplying the power for everything.
Yeah, they are.
I can show you that just quickly now.
Yeah, go ahead and show us that. I wanted to ask you now, you said it's just powered by battery, correct? Because it's portable, obviously. Can you add a DC output to it or no?
You could do, yeah. Yeah, you could use a DC, output like you have on your laptop, something like that. As long as it's below sort of like 3 amps, you'll be okay. There'll be no problem whatsoever. And most devices are, that use like radio inputs per DC from a wall socket outlet or something like that will work perfectly well with it. And yeah, I haven't done it because again, it's time and it's just another thing to add to the cost of the device. We're always trying to keep the cost down, so we use as least parts as we can possible, but keep the quality there basically. So yeah,
what kind of battery is it, Nigel? Sorry.
Yeah, sorry.
What kind of battery is it takes?
I'll just show you in there. It's got 1 9 volt. Sorry, but I just have to turn it around for a second because it's a slide off lid.
A little bit closer to your face, Nigel. So there we go.
There you go.
Oh yes, a square one. Yeah.
It's a little PP3 battery, they're called.
Yeah.
And that slots in there nicely. You put the cover back over the top, and you can put a little screw in there to hold it insecure if you're carrying it around on your investigation. Okay. So, like I say, everything works off there as before. I could show you. It used to have the 4 AA batteries, and it is a secure unit, but it wasn't sort of shielded like this one is to the elements, really. The batteries are exposed when they're in there, whereas this has got the cover on it. Okay. And it works in the same way with the on-off switch and things at the side here, just the same.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
I wanted to say hello to Shazzy. Robin, she said hello to you.
Yeah, she's off Northwest Ghost Adventures.
Oh, awesome. Great, Shazzy. Well, hey, I know Robin's probably going to reach out to you if you haven't already, because we'd love to have great teams on like you guys. And so we will definitely be talking to you soon, but thank you for joining us. But get back to what we were saying, Robin. What I wanted to ask you, I mean, not Robin, Nigel, I wanted to ask you is, can you show real quick a demo of the Rem Pod? Because the question I was always wondering, in the beginning, before we sat down and talked on, Messenger stuff, was, yes, adding a Rem Pod to an electronic device like that, just like they say, obviously don't bring your phone when you're doing an investigation because the K2 meter or EMF meter or whatever. And I totally understand that. But how were you able to implement this without it setting off that EMF field? I mean, tell me, that's pretty intense. I'm not going to lie, man.
Now, there are 2 ways that you can do it, and ITC developers will understand this. Whereas most people that use the devices may not understand it quite as well. They may do. There are 2 ways to go, and I can say at first diodes, which only allow current to pass. That's if you're trying to stop the interference between the Rem Pod and the signal it's picking up from the electromagnetic field, the static field. You could use diodes so that it can only bring in that that charge, basically, that information to the actual Rem Pod itself, the circuitry, in a one direction by using diodes. Or you can use, which I use, is a resistor actually on the antenna. So it cuts out anything that the radio is transmitting or any other electrical device around the area of the actual box.
Wow, that is... Yeah, please turn it on real
basic,
quick.
It's quite basic electronics. Remember, I've told you in the last show, I came into all of this, not as an electrician, I knew nothing about electronics, or probably the same as what we're taught at high school, you know, just the basics really. But did have the reason why a Ghost Box should exist channeled to me, and given the basics, and then learn myself to actually work on that idea. I'm going to show you quickly the Rem Pod itself working.
Yeah.
Well, I'll show you first. The actual Ghost Box working.
Right.
As you know before, you've got the switch there for the radio that's inside the Ghost Box you switch on. Then on this side, you've got the reverb switch, if you want to use that. So you can switch that on as well. And then here, you have the volume control.
And Nigel, when you do it, just bring it a little closer to your face. To your face.
I'll try and bring it really close for you, yeah? This is the speed button, the rate button there. See it's written on there, rate.
Yep.
And it's already starting to sweep through now. I'll turn the volume up for you. I'm having to remember because I'm doing it all backwards, what side what.
I know.
This has not been tuned in, by the way, so it's probably not picking up as much as it normally does. I'll try and tune it in. Right, I'm going to tune this in. Going to take a few seconds.
Yep.
What you'll hear is use the little green button there to tune into your local area, and it'll start picking up radio stations.
Awesome. Wow. I never knew what that button was for when I first saw it, and I'm like, I have to.
That was quite a unique thing that came to us, because we thought, well, how can you use the same Ghost Box in different areas when you've got so many different FM wave bands, around
absolutely,
but around the world. So you're going to have to tune it in each time to that particular area. And that was one way we got around it.
Hey, that's a great idea, though. I never would have even thought of that. I just thought that it would pick up everywhere. You know what I mean? Because it's on those
different countries have different how can I put it spectrum of the wave band.
Okay, so listen.
Okay. I'm not going to go into. I just wanted to show you that the Ghost Box side of it, the audio works.
Yeah.
Deeply into actually. And now, if I put the Rem Pod on, which is this extra switch at the bottom here. You see, it says Rem there.
Yep.
Yeah, Rem on.
Yep.
So we switched that on. What'll happen is for up to 20 seconds, it can be 30 sometimes, I've noticed, but up to 20 seconds, you'll get the actual thing calibrating itself. Okay, so you'll hear a continuous beep, and the little light there at the bottom of the device. I'll try and bring it in the middle there.
Cool.
Take that from away. Will actually start flashing. Okay, that's not Rem Pod working. It's just calibrating. It'll stop in a few seconds. And what it's doing now is it's just sort of getting used to the area around the box. So it's only going to pick up the electromagnetic field.
That's fascinating.
Okay?
So
that's going to stop in a second. There is a way you can stop it, and that's hold the aerial.
Yeah.
Sometimes it seems to take forever to do because you're waiting for it and you're thinking, is it ever going to stop?
Tell me, does it have to be steady? Like, would you have to put it down, or will it do it holding?
No, it will stop. I mean, it stopped then before I put it down. But now you see nothing's happening. But we've got electrostatic in our hands and things. If I go near the aerial.
Oh, that's awesome.
We're getting the Rem Pod effect. It is picking up stuff from the computer, by the way.
I think
the monitor is right in front of it. But you can see that.
Especially with the internet as well. I've noticed with my phone, like, obviously the antenna or the Wi-Fi, whatever, it will pick that up as too.
It's got a range. If I move it away onto the table over there, but it means moving the webcam and everything, it's got a range of about 1 meter. So you could have something affect the box, in that 1 meter range, really. and
now,
quite a weak field. It will go off with quite. I mean, if I put my little finger there, like,
yeah. Now let me ask you this question. The field is now only coming from the antenna, correct? Or is it from the entire, it's just the antenna, like a normal Rem Pod, correct?
If you disconnected it from the antenna, it would not work. It's
That's
got
right.
to have that. Also, as I mentioned earlier, I'll let you into the secret because people will take this apart and they'll try and copy it and have that with every device. So it's not a secret, really. And Rem Pods have been built since day one. We know this, you know, they're not that difficult to make. But
Absolutely.
it has got a germanium diode, which is a crystal diode. So it's working with crystals again. And the crystal itself, the chip in the diode, filters out any unwanted electromagnetic interference from the radio or other devices nearby. Now, I said it is picking up from the actual monitor and things. That's because the aerial's doing it. Do you understand what I mean? The device inside will not pick anything up if it isn't connected through that diode to the aerial.
That's absolutely awesome. You know what's funny is that I was actually talking with one of my best friends about germanium diodes, and there was a device that was made back in like the 50s for communication that you can actually look up. It's an old thing, and it actually has a germanium diode that's in it, and it pauses for I think it's for EVPs or some kind of communication. I don't really know.
The Spirit Box says. In fact, there's a guy that still makes some AJ, and the design you can find it on the internet is. I did make them for a short while. They're called they've got the Tesla name behind them, Tesla Spirit Radio, and they use a thing called a tickler. It's a little germanium diode on the end of a piece of wood, and it just tickles a piece of metal, and that's all you need to start picking up radio waves.
That's awesome.
Right?
It's really simple. Yeah.
So fascinating.
So if you ever get stuck anywhere in the middle of the desert and you've got a germanium diode on you,
yeah, right.
to communicate with somebody somewhere.
Yeah, I just want to say real quick to our viewers, I believe it's actually Nigel's and all ours cameras for some reason. The Streamyard today is doing a little bit of that staticky stuff, which is not normally it doesn't normally happen. I just want to let the viewers know, don't mind that. I'm going to be switching back and forth to solo. So you guys could not have that, and you could listen to everything that Nigel's saying. But Nigel, back to what we were talking about real quick. I wanted to say to you, you know, this is fascinating. And the reason why I think this is such a great thing that you added to this is because you're not only getting the adjustable sweep Spirit Box, you're getting also the portal where you can use the reverb. Now, doesn't it also have another effect as well besides reverb?
Yeah, I mean, we've got obviously some people. It depends what you want to use. You know, at the end of the day, I just put on there. We've got the flashing. I'll just turn the Rem Pod off for a second. But we've got in there a flashing LED light. Now that it actually works in basically sound to light system. So if we get any voices or any sounds come through on the speaker, that will flash along to that. You can use that as an indicator because that's what for all the time, indicators. Some people work better with light than they do with sound. Remember, if you're deaf, you've still got an ability there to use the box. Also, in the top of the box, on the Bluetooth module, you can put in a USB stick with sound banks on it if you want to put that in there and play them through the box. USB drive, Bluetooth mode. It picked up the drive. You heard the voice there say it's built into the actual console. A lovely Chinese lady's voice. And, you know, you also got access to put in another Ghost Box. If you've got the SB7, which, you know, the people that love the SB7 will say, well, this is a rival to it. No, it can work together. You can stick an auxiliary cable into the SB7, stick it into here, and play them both at the same time. So you get, you know, both sounds coming through.
That's awesome.
Does going to work with both? We don't know. They might do.
That's so amazing. I have to say, I mean, Robin, what do you think, man? Like, I didn't even know about the tuning thing. So, like, when I get on mine in America, I could just press that button. It'll be tuned to my location. I think that's awesome. Not only that, I think it's awesome that you could choose to play 2 Spirit Boxes at once if you wanted to, you know, I don't know, and maybe as an experiment, I don't know if I would use it in, you know, videos because of the probably the way that it would sound with two going at
Yeah,
once.
I mean that's the thing. It's an experimental thing, really. You're dead right there, AJ. What we're really trying to do is not use this as a gimmick. We want to actually use it as a spirit box, a ghost box, or a portal. And the thing is that you've got the option though to choose between the different inputs, and also you've got an auxiliary out. Remember on it here, which will take it to a computer, so you can record your sessions, and it's
That's
got
incredible.
What it is, and I always, my ethos. It's got everything that a more expensive spirit box would have at a reasonable price, and that's really what I want to do. I want to make this affordable. Instead of spending twice as much on a Ghost Box portal as this, now you can spend a little bit more than what it's already at, right? To get a Rem Pod, which would cost you half the price of getting another spirit box, and it's all there together in one unit.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. That's what amazes me. I mean, I read up on it before you give the demonstration and stuff like this, and of what all was on it and everything that was coming with it. But it's once you see it in action, like you've just showed us, and you've only showed us for a brief minute, but it's just honestly, what is in that box? The amount of stuff that's in that box for the size of it is unbelievable. And I know you're saying, Nigel, about making it affordable, but I do think you're doing yourself a little bit there.
Yeah, I mean, the only reason why
what do you have in that box? If you were to buy all that separately, you'd be paying £300-400 quid.
Yeah,
easy.
Wait, hold on,
Robin, about right.
Sorry, I just want to say one.
The paranormal, don't get me wrong, the people that sell more expensive items, right, that is their choice. I'll give you an example. My other passion is years ago were motorcycles. Okay, you see the picture on the wall up there of the moped. I have in my garage, which I've been building for a couple of years now, a motorized bicycle. Put an engine on it and everything like that. And because of the market for that is quite high, I will sell it for what other people sell them for. But I'm not paranormal to sell ghost boxes to make, it's hard to explain. It's a different approach completely. How can I put it? Well, my problem as well. I said right at the beginning of the thing, the devil in the deep blue sea, is that I don't want to be too busy. I know it sounds crazy. And one day I may pass this on to somebody that does want to be busy and make mega bucks out of it. And they may say, well, I'm going to put the price up double and that would be their right. They can do that.
Yeah. No, I wasn't meaning it in a bad way, but
I fully
everything that's in that box is, I mean, for the price, it's, I can't understand
how I do it.
How you've got time to come here now.
How I do it, and it was a hell of a struggle through the pandemic. I do it in bulk. I got to a position about 2 years ago where I made enough money from the original FCD Ghost Boxes where I could buy a lot of stock, a lot of amplifiers in bulk, a lot of reverb boards, and it was a hell of a struggle through the pandemic because you couldn't keep that going. You couldn't get them, as I mentioned before. They went up 4 times the price. So I wasn't buying in bulk then. And it was a struggle. Yeah. But things have normalized again now. So you know what it's like. You buy wholesale, you get them a lot cheaper.
Exactly.
Absolutely. Well, what's funny is that what I wanted to say while you guys were just with Robin, what you were just saying about all the stuff that's in that box. The thing that I liked about it, and like before I met you, Nigel, I told you I've been following you for years about this. I've watched the FCD grow. I mean, the whole company grow. I mean, it's just amazing, and I'm glad. I was mad that I didn't do this sooner, but I tell you what you have now is absolutely amazing. And the reason why I say that is when I went to Ghost Top online, when I just got into paranormal, I wanted to buy a Rem Pod, right? Ghost Top, they sell them for like $170. Now you go to any paranormal thing on Facebook, group wise, they can make them and sell them to you for $50-70. Okay, like little ones, not obviously good ones, big ones, good. But the thing is though, I paid the same amount of money for one Rem Pod, $170, which is what yours equals out to, is actually less if people go to your website because you get $10 off. So it's what, 130 pounds for that deluxe right there with everything included right there with the Rem Pod. And then if you do that in USD dollars for people in America, that comes out to, I believe, 171, 172. Take $10 off your order when you go through fcdboxes.co.uk, and that's 162. I mean, that's less than what I paid for one Rem Pod. You have a spirit box, you have a portal, have effects in there. I mean, it's just crazy.
I can understand what Robin's getting at. I can fully see that. Robin, I do get you, because I tried to sort of show you that with the, the bicycle thing. Hey, I've bought cars, done them up and sold them in the past, you know what I mean? And maybe we all want to make a bit of money from our work and the effort. And like I say, these parts that go inside them, they cost money. You've got to buy them. You don't get them for free. I can tell you this, and it's no secret, I've made many videos on it. I could not sell these devices, right, at the prices that some people ask. And I know what goes into theirs. Remember, I know that I know because I've copied quite a lot of the FCD interiors. Yeah. I know what to put in them. Well, the thing is, I couldn't sleep at night, seriously. If I charged somebody £1,000 I've seen for a Ghost Box in America that has got the same innards as the Mark IV, that is a joke.
I just can't wait to use it. Honestly, I'm just, I mean, it's so amazing. I just can't wait to use it. I can't.
That's my apology on live. I am so sorry, and I mean, it's just time. Scott, that's going to be on your show, Scott Bauer.
Yeah.
I've been promised him another FCD that's very popular, but it's a lot of carving out the wood from it and everything that I have to do, called The Book for the Dead. Okay, it's a little bookcase that you open up and it's got the Ghost Box inside, basically. And he loved that. He was taking on all his investigations, and he wanted another one. He wanted another one for a friend. I've been promising him for a year now, and I'm so frustrated because it's just time, getting the time to actually.
Yeah, no, it's all right. It's just like I said. It's just when you show it on there, it's like.
No, but I will make time, because at some point I've got to have a holiday. I've got to have a break. So then I'll be sat down making you guys show. It's just that literally that. How can I put it? It's not that because I don't want people to think, he's forgetting about you guys because he's making money. I'm not. I could make 2 tomorrow, and then there's people waiting like 2 weeks for theirs.
Yeah, well, that's understandable. It's just obviously that the viewers and the other guys from Power Post and everybody else know that obviously AJ and me will be getting one of these boxes, and we will be using them, on our investigations. And it's just. With everything, this is what I was saying to you, Nigel, with everything that they have in them boxes, it's like I can take the half of the equipment out of my bag now because I won't need a half of it. It's all there.
I don't know. I don't know about that, because it's a bit like a hobby that other people have with different things. You can never have too many of these things.
Yeah, no.
It's like, do you know what? I've actually had an SB7, in the past. Because they're different. They're totally different to what these are. They don't cancel out the static. And I don't know if the YouTube video still there. It's one of the very first ones I did. A guy wanted to buy an FCD. It was a different model to this. I wouldn't want, and he didn't have enough money. And he said, "I'll tell you what, I'll give you my SB7 and a 20 quid or something." And I ended up we went through that. So I thought, well, I'm going to do a bit of a session with both.
Nice.
And you can, and this was the thing. I had all these haters all around me online saying, "Oh, it's rubbish, FCD. You want an SB7? They're the best. Don't buy that. Buy this. Buy this." And I thought, no, I'll show them that you can use both. It doesn't matter.
Absolutely, absolutely. You know what's crazy is that what I was going to say to you was about what you said earlier about how the reason why you keep it so cheap is because you couldn't sleep at night. And that's the one thing that why I kept an eye on FCD all these years is because of the price that you had and what you were doing and how you were constantly updating and everything like that. And not only that, the reason why me and Robin chose you, FCD, as a company to want to sponsor us was because of that reason. Because I'm poorer than poor. You know, I've been blessed with good friends and people who've helped me out with a lot of equipment. And
I've been there, AJ, myself. I've been there, you know. And
exactly, you know, and I'm just so
if you're an
happy that
empathic
you're like
person,
that. So
if you're an empath like yourself and that, you don't forget things like that. You don't forget the people that have helped you along the way. And
yeah.
I mean, I appreciate totally what you guys are doing. It's fantastic. Forget FCD, what you're doing anyway. You know, you're getting information out there. You're bringing lots of different groups together and organisations under one umbrella. Yeah. I long for that. I told you this in the last show. Back in the 1980s, it was so separate. All the paranormal still is to some degree in some circles, but it's people like yourselves, Robin and yourself and Steve. You're bringing everything together.
But you're a part of it too.
Yeah.
You know, I'm getting at, don't you? That it's important that we lose that ego side of things. You know, who cares if somebody's got, hey, do you know what? Every time somebody finds some fantastic evidence, instead of everybody getting jealous about that, they should be celebrating it and saying, well done, those guys. You know, you've done well there. Now let's digest it, you know?
Not only that, I was thinking like this, if we can literally get together and stop making a competition and start working together like our Parapost crew does, you know, and how we do and how we got the, you know, international group of researchers that we're expanding people now finally constantly. We want to make a huge network there of just researchers that can, you know, share their videos all in one spot so that people could see different researchers. But, you know, it's just so important to me because I'm tired of all the negativity in this field. I'm tired of the competition in this field. Like, if we work together, can you imagine that positive energy and what we can accomplish as one, instead of fighting each other of, oh, I got to get famous or I got to get, you know, this many subscribers today. I find it wild. I mean, so I totally applaud you, Nigel.
I think that's where your success will come from, definitely, because you've got the right, you know, approach. And there is nothing that the people that want to keep things separate can do anything about that. You just keep doing what you do and you'll go great. And in fact, more and more people are starting to appreciate that approach as well now. You know, they really are. They're sick of the bickering. They're sick of the, you know, there's been too many years of all that and the jealousy. And maybe I did a foolish thing, but in a way, it helped to make FCD work. Because I spent too much time trying to justify myself to some of these haters. And believe you me, some of them haters were other ITC device designers and sellers, you know, they were out there. And it's all just jealousy. If I always just say to them, even on videos, which again, testimony is out there, it's not me just saying it now, that if you get on with your own creativity and use that energy that you're hating people with to think up new ideas, think about what you can improve your device like, you know, and you'll prosper from that. So what I did was in the end, was actually move away from a lot of the, and I lost a couple of really good friends, you know, within the field, because I couldn't sort of like move away and stick with a couple because then it caused them problems because they're attached to me. So I ended up where I thought to myself, well, I'm just going to keep myself to myself, concentrate on what I do, put my stuff out there. You either like it or you don't like it. And every time I see a thumbs down on the video, I just think, well, at least they watched the video.
Yeah, right.
Exactly.
That's it.
I mean, luckily I haven't had too many negative things, but I did have a guy trolling me and he was trying to say how he was gifted by God and he was the son of God. And we had our other host on here, Steve-O, as you know, and he did a live spirit box. I did a live spirit box session. He did a live session with his DR60 and a spirit box. And this guy went on and the Talking with the Source YouTube picked up the video and then cut it and tried to tell me that Steve-O's voice through the recorder was spirit talking and that I don't know what I'm doing and all this stuff. But yeah, the best part about it was this guy doesn't make his own videos, but yet he's gifted and chosen by God. I was like, wait a minute. I'm like, I don't mind if you want to approach me and tell me that you're gifted. I get it, because there's a lot of people that are gifted. But the thing that got me upset was you're very arrogant about it. And that is not something I don't want to deal with people with anger. I don't want to deal with people that, you know, are going to be that negative way.
I'd have the red flag scope straight away when he started saying that it'd be,
so far.
you know, again, you know, don't you, where they're coming from with that sort of statement. You know, at the end of the day, how can I put this? I feel embarrassed, but you have to tell the truth sometimes. And that's why I used to enjoy writing books, which I mentioned to you before. It's because then you can put down and explain in the written word exactly where you're coming from, which is very difficult sometimes when you're on the hop like this and you're just talking about things. But I can never take, I told you, you know, before in the last show, I can't take 100% for the idea of how can I put it, having a communications device in the way the FCDs have developed from just myself, from my own mind, from my own creativity, because I know how it came to me. It was almost channeled to me. And if I did say to myself, I mean, some people would not say that. They'd say, no, I thought about it. I did it all. I got the idea, because it's more important for them to take the credit than to actually tell the truth. And my truth is that an idea was being formulated in my mind externally, I believe, for probably 2 or 3 decades. And that was when I mentioned before, working in Ilkley at the swastika stone and seeing how that fifth element symbol was showing me how energy works in the ether, in the environment.
Yeah.
And it's all to do with how you can actually transfer that energy from particular sites, places, which store it, and it's also to do with the geological makeup of the area, and how you can actually tap into that to use it, basically. I mean, there's a great mystery in the area on the moors, I'll just mention quickly, that ties in with this, where the ancient farmers on the moorlands of Yorkshire at Ilkley used an element called lodestone. I don't know if you've had that in America. It's like a magnetic stone. And it's found, it's like a shale, really. It's found all over the place on the moors. And the ancients knew that if they utilised this stone, obviously they could make things like compasses out of it. They could float it on rock hollows in the rain and make it move like a compass. And there's proof and evidence of this. They had that insight. It's not like they had a fantastic knowledge of what compasses are or how they work. They just tried things and experimented and used their creativity, and things happen. Things come to you.
Hey Nigel, what I want you to explain to our because I know there's going to be some people that haven't seen the first video with you. If you want to explain to them how when you got into this, you were actually into this because of your being a UFO person in that field.
That's the word you're looking for.
Explain a little bit about that if you could.
Yeah. I mean, I had a personal experience, as I mentioned before, in 1980 with an orange ball of light. And that experience actually transformed the person that I was before then. I was in my early 20s, and anything to do with UFOs or aliens, anything like that, I would just probably laugh at before the experience. It was just, that had happened to other people. It was science fiction. It wasn't real. But then I had this experience where this ball of light hovered outside my bedroom window, basically, not far from a top secret NSA base in North Yorkshire. Now, it was the experience itself that stuck with me, in that while I was watching this object, it almost shape-shifted in the sky. It changed shapes and things. I knew, something told me in my mind that if I didn't do something while I'm watching it, I would forget the whole experience. Someone was telling me that. Someone was saying to me, while you're looking at this, you need to remember it and do something so you remember it. So what I did was I got an ornament that was, I can't remember now, it could have been a little lampshade or something like that. I moved it from the bedside cabinet and put it on the window ledge. That's all I did. Wow. And I got off for work the next morning. That was on the Sunday. It was the following Monday morning. And I used to be a costing clerk in a paper mill. I worked in an office there doing the wages, things like that. So quite a boring, mundane job, really. Went to work just as normal. Sat down at my office desk. Did my work through the day. This girl that was on the switchboard that worked there came into the office around dinner time and said, hey, Nigel, you won't believe this, but my mum woke me up in the middle of the night. And you know, over near where you live, she said she saw this orange ball of light flying around the sky. And I'm sat there thinking, that sounds crazy.
Yeah.
I got a clue that I'd seen it, not a clue. I got home that night, and on the table in the living room, while my mum, I was living, you know, my family back then, my mum was making the tea and that. And yep. The newspaper, the Evening Post newspaper, was on the table. Massive headlines sticking out, the big bold headlines. UFO chased into North Yorkshire by police. So wow. I started reading it, and I remember saying to my mum, hey, this is what happened to Yvette, the girl at work. Her mother saw this. I still had no clue that I was anything to do with it at all. It was only when I went upstairs after tea that I got changed out of my suit for work, you know, got out of the suit and put on my sort of like jeans, casual clothes. I looked over to the window ledge and noticed that the ornament had been moved. And just like a tape recorder being played back in your mind at really high speed, the whole experience came flooding back to me. Wow. And I just stood there and I thought, my God, what's happened? It was like, and I've had this before, you know, I've had this sort of since the data download that comes to you from somewhere that gives you the information back and the memory back. So, and for years, I used to, you know, think about this when I did my UFO investigations. How many people actually see UFOs or have close encounter experiences, but never remember them?
True.
There could be millions of people out there that have had close experiences and they just don't remember any of it because they didn't do the thing that triggers it back.
Yeah.
And there must be some element, well, I'm sure there is just some element within the phenomena that actually is able to erase your memory of what you're watching.
Yeah.
And there could be reasons to trauma to do with that, or to cut a very long story short, AJ, to get back to your original question, after the experience and learning all how it works, it gives you little stepping stones, like it did all through the day, giving me information from other people. But I learned through the years that I needed to start investigating because I was basically looking for what had happened to me in other people's experiences. I was looking for things like, did the same thing happen to them? Did they have missing time? Did they lose memories? I was like that all the time. And I got to a position where I was like director of investigations for Bufora, one of the biggest British UFO Research Association. I met the likes of J. Allen Hynek, you know, I talked to her on a park bench eating sandwiches and talked about top secret, you know, UFO secrets and things. I got into a world where I was brushing shoulders with all the top ufologists in the world, basically. John Lear, you know, Linda Moulton Howe, Jenny Randalls, all these people. But it was the 1980s and I'd had this experience. And very soon after the experience, I started channeling information. It started coming from the UFO source through me. And because I could not see then, I can now, I could not see then how people could accept that people were seeing lights in the sky or landed craft or entities at a distance, just before the general greys and abductions and things, remember? The very early days. I couldn't see why nobody would accept when I said, well, I'm receiving information from these things.
Yeah. Well,
as soon as you did, even in the UFO circles, AJ, even in the big major groups, if you said anything like that, and I was, you were pushed out. You became these are not.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you know what? I think it's amazing that like the whole paranormal field itself is becoming like it's really mainstream now. Like you can go to someone and you don't sound crazy if you have an experience, and everybody's willing to share their experiences. Like back in the day, like, you know, it was like, oh man, don't say too much. Because even my grandmother, when we had our experience, my whole family at the house, everybody kept hush hush, didn't want to talk about it. Even my grandmother didn't want to believe it because it sounds, you know, nuts to people when they have experiences or see a full apparition.
It's probably understandable. Yeah.
But say to you, Nigel, though, about what you just said, those downloads, right? So there's a theory that when we get that, you know, when people have like that tinnitus ringing in their ears, there's a theory that that's actually a spiritual download for us. If you don't have a medical condition, obviously you want to see a doctor first, obviously, because if you do have tinnitus, that is a real condition of ringing in the ears. But if you don't, like myself, it didn't start happening to me until I had my near-death experience, and then I started getting ringing in my ears. And then when I started working with my guides more, it started to happen. And every time I would have it happen, I would say, "Don't worry, guys, I hear you, I hear you." And there's a whole thing where like your left ear is like, you know, something like a good thing that they're trying to tell you, or your right ear is like your bad one or whatever. But I've actually read that theory about that. So it's funny that you said those downloads. So it doesn't sound crazy to me at all. I totally understand what you're saying.
It's quite now. I mean, like you said, you can talk about it and it makes a lot of sense. I wrote my last book, this one, Etheric UFO Portals, right?
Yeah.
Trying to explain exactly what you said there, AJ, because my belief is that the information that came to me just comes from a being, a living, you know, an entity, but
yeah,
doesn't come directly from, much in the same way with the spirit boxes. You know, there's still this misconception that what you're hearing is the spirit voice talking. And it's an impossibility because in the spirit, we don't have vocal cords, physical ones. We can't do it. Yep. So they have to use another means of transferring the information over to us, and hence the boxes. But in the etheric world, you can call it the spirit world, it's just another level of higher energy, okay? There's different dimensions of energy. And it's funny because someone told me to do this, and the conversation, you know how these things work, don't you, Robin and AJ? They just get transferred round to what's going to happen. And I said to her, do you know what, tonight I'll end up talking about this etheric thing, but I need my pendulum. And she said, oh, there's one in the bedroom, I'll get you. So what I'm going to show you now is exactly what we're talking about, which is how it always works. The etheric field, right, where spirit want to give you through information, holds all information. And they can tap into that much easier than we can. Anything that's ever happened, right, ever, and is known about, whether it be knowledge, an actual event, anything like that, not something that we're just thinking might happen. It's got to have actually taken place. Once that is so, it holds a value in the etheric field. It's almost like, you know, you've written it down in a book and put it into the library. It's there forever because it's happened. So through dancing, you can actually tap into that. Now, I mean, it's very hard to show you on video unless you sat in the room with me, but I have no reason to fake this whatsoever. I could show you know, loads of people this all the time. So if I put my hand under the pendulum there, I'm just holding it, look like that, between my finger and my thumb. I don't want to move it. I don't want to cheat. I never have done. Okay. But get my hand up there so you can all see it. We could just ask a question of this etheric field, and let's hope spirit will help us get the answer too, because we're asking with, you know, respect and in a polite way to them as well. And let's just say, well, a simple one, really simple one, so we can do it quickly. We know that the pendulum should move backwards and forwards for a male energy. Okay, and I'm male energy. So let's see. I'll make my answer so you get the concept of it happening. And we've got that male energy going across. It's going across my hand, actually, at the moment. Straight across. Okay. Now, AJ, you do it over the net. You think about a female energy. Okay. Watch the pendulum. It's starting to do it now. Can you see what's happening?
Yeah, no, yeah. And you know what's crazy about that is that what I love about pendulums,
the circular motion, because that's the female energy.
Yeah.
And there's nothing, it's not my brain saying, please turn that way, or my, although the theory is, and you guys might know it if you've studied, you know, the parapsychology of it, is that yes, we do move it. Yes, we do. I don't want to, because I want to get the information from the ether. But something is, we move it with very minute, which are hardly traceable, movement of our finger and thumb on that cord. But our mind is not telling it to do that. Something between the ether and our mind is telling our nerve endings to move it slightly at the very right time. Sounds a bit of a cop-out, that, but it's been tested, all of this. It's not, because they've done blind tests and things.
You're right.
Okay, where you don't even know what the pendulum's doing. You hold it away, you know, away from you. You don't even hold it sometimes. Some people are capable of hanging it on a piece of wood.
Yeah.
Just thinking it starts doing it. So there is something like that happening. this interface between the etheric world and our own.
Absolutely.
It's easily
definitely.
I want to say to our viewers again, not to interrupt you guys, I just want to say one more time. First, I want to give a shout out to Crazy Girl Oddities and Adventures. She says, hello, Haffer and Paranormal. Just want to give her a shout
AAP
out.
raid.
Yeah, AAP, baby. Bam! I love that. Oh, man, I love that. I can't wait to have them on. Yeah, I can't wait to have them on. But what I wanted to say to you, though, Nigel, was, I mean, not to Nigel, to the viewers, I want to say I apologize. We are having a little issue with the audio as you hear the crackling noise. I can't figure out if it's coming from my phone or Robin's or Nigel's. I'm trying to mute and figure it out what's going on. We did have a little trouble with Streamyard. That's why we started a little late. So just bear with us. I'm going to be doing solo layouts like this so that hopefully it'll cut out that static noise. But back to what you were talking about. You're absolutely right. We do use the pendulum. Our bodies do, you know, it's like a motor thing that happens where, you know, it could subconsciously start moving the pendulum, you know, but I like what you said because they do make the things that you can hang, you know, the pendulum in and you can actually think. And I believe that like one of the things that I've been doing with my research is like asking spirit, asking guides, you know, just like with mediums, they get like a block of thought and energy, a block of thought. And then in that block of thought, neuroscience say that our brain is a filter for our consciousness. So they have to basically, you know, that's why they say it's so hard. Certain mediums will say it's really, or most mediums will say it's really hard to get names, specific names sometimes because that block of thought that they're giving you, it also has to get processed and it also has to, you know, for them to, you know, figure it out with their consciousness the way that they grow. And
that's where you get people that don't understand the process. It's so easy for them to say, oh, well, they're rubbish at it. They can't do it because they don't understand. Do you know what? I mean, I used to do psychic demonstrations as well. All part of this all overlaps at different times. And, you know, it's all using the same principle, though. It's all to do with energy. Tesla was completely right. Everything, you know, is to do with energy, and the secrets of the universe are to do with, you know, the quality and energy of numbers and values and all this sort of thing.
Absolutely.
You know, and it is very deep, and don't get me wrong, you can end up with a hell of a headache if you think about this thing too much. No, you know, it's not easy stuff.
Hey, I totally agree with you because if you think about it, right, Nikola Tesla, one of the best, in my opinion, geniuses of the 20th century, he said, if you want to know the secrets of the universe, focus on vibration, frequency, and energy. And I tell you what, since I've started studying that about, I would say a few years ago, I tell you what, I can literally reference everything in a scientific way to someone who's skeptical that can understand what spirit communication is. And I think that if scientists were to stop and take the spiritual aspect out of it, and we started to look at it in those ways, there's already stuff that we're figuring out in the scientific community that is relevant to what we're doing in this paranormal field, but they look at it as pseudoscience and folklore because of the spiritual aspect on it. And I wish that we would focus more about what you just said about, you know, the energy and like how Nikola Tesla said, you know, those three keys, you know.
It's a frustrating and a really difficult one at this particular time, AJ. Robin, I don't want to leave out the conversation there, Robin, because I know you're really interested in this sort of thing as well. And
oh, yeah, absolutely. I'm just listening contently.
Yeah. You know, AJ, 3, 6, and 9. Do you want to test that? Well, do you know when I got my first download from the UFO sign? Number 3. They kept saying to me, number 3 over and over again. I thought, what the hell are you on about, number 3? And I took it on in my life as my lucky number. You know, you do. Oh, number 3 is my number. You just, but there are so many things. If you look at spirituality, the Trinity, 3, you know, you look at all these aspects of the value of 3. And I always see 3 as being red. I don't know why. I think a 3, I can see red, the color. And it's like there's an overlap of how we, almost like symbolism that comes into it all. Yeah. And it's trying to make things that are very complicated that we'd never understand in our evolution at this time into a more practical and understandable way, really. That's what's going on.
Absolutely.
It's actually giving us clues, that's all.
Yeah, I actually read somewhere, you'll probably be able to confirm this as well. I actually read somewhere quite a while ago now, and I can't remember, it was almost been online somewhere, where everybody associates the number 666 with evil, but apparently it actually started off as being 555.
Right, I don't know.
Well, you know, the
That,
theories
I
along those
wouldn't be
things.
surprised that everything just get corrupted.
Yeah, there's so many things about those things because also scholars have said that they believe that they think that at the time maybe John was referring to 616. I believe it was supposed to be like Napoleon or something along those lines
Yeah, yeah.
who did a lot of evil, or they were referencing the numbers to back in the times of the ruler back then that was basically persecuting them and stuff. But what Crazy Girl, first I want to say hi to Sean real quick. Sean says
Hi,
hi
Sean.
all. He's a great
Hi,
communicator and
Sean.
investigator.
Nice.
Also, Crazy Girl Oddity said, I do also enjoy my dowsing rods. And I tell you what, I love my dowsing rods, actually. I use them too, and I've had some great experiences. I don't do a lot of videos with them, but I wish that I did more. But, Robin, you're right. I've seen so many different things about that. And, who knows what that meaning was, because back 2,000 years ago, they symbolized a lot of things that are a lot different than we do. So, that's why when I see people, taking certain things from certain sacred texts, I'm like, you have to understand that that was a while ago, 2,000 years ago, when the writing in those were a lot different. Yes, we've translated it and all this, stuff has happened and the church has controlled a lot of stuff, but we have to look at it as they were talking a different way than we were. Just like we
Yeah.
have terms or we have LOL now. You said LOL to someone back 2,000 years ago, they're going to go LOL.
I have a clue,
Oh,
wouldn't they?
like my grandpa used to do to me, you know what I mean?
I think it's some
But,
sort of secret cipher or something,
yeah, but I love it. And I think that so much stuff, like if you start looking at what you said earlier, Nigel, about the synchronicities, that if you start looking at everything that's going on as a whole and all these little synchronicities through, from your UFO experience that led you to make these boxes, to all the experiences that I've had up to my near-death experience and beyond. I mean, it's just, there's so much now in spirit.
Can I just ask one or two, AJ? Can I ask you both now? Because I think it's pretty important. I don't know why yet. Like I said, with the dowsing thing, it came earlier.
Yeah.
And if I look red, it's because we've got the central heating on in the room. It's really warm.
You're okay.
Yeah.
I feel like a beetroot at the moment.
Yeah.
Right, guys, have any of you at the moment been having any sort of like religious, spiritual conundrum, anything like that? Or...
Explain what you mean.
Right. As you were talking just then, AJ, I'm not saying it's direct from spirit because I don't know. I'll be honest with you, I don't know. I got a thought into my head as you were talking to actually start telling you about an experience that took place with myself years ago. But that isn't important. This is more important to find out how far the you two guys is there something that you're thinking about with religion, of changing religion, or?
It's so funny that you just said that. Oh my God, what's so funny is you just said that is since my near-death experience about 7-8 years ago, I wanted to start studying all the religions. I was growing up Catholic, but then I switched at 16 to a Christian church, and I loved it because the bands play, worship was cool. Just the whole vibe there was differently. But then I veered off, got into the wrong crowd, and had my near-death experience. And I've, like I said, ever since then, I've been studying every mainstream religion. But it's not that I'm switching religions, because I do believe that, but my beliefs have changed. My beliefs are a little bit different now than it is, than it used to be. Whereas before I used to symbolize Jesus as the number one all thing. And yes, I'm not saying Jesus isn't. All I'm saying is that I look towards God more than I focus on what I used to focus on, where it would be Jesus Christ. If that makes any sense. I don't know.
That's yeah, exactly.
It's not only that, but as a pair, AJ and myself have been discussing different religions because we were actually trying to get a guy of Muslim faith on to the podcast.
That's what I think it is, Robin.
Yeah,
it's not really important like that it was something to do with current. I'm not taking away from AJ because that's probably just the same thing in a
there's a guy that was wanting to come on, and we were wanting to try and get him on because obviously, in the Muslim faith, they believe in a lot of the paranormal and stuff like that. And this guy, from what I can make out, he seems to be an investigator himself. So we were wanting to try and get him on and have his side put across, and not picking anything apart from anybody. We just want to hear different people's levels in the field and what their beliefs in the field and stuff like that. Because, like AJ said, we all work together and not go in competition.
After which,
yeah, I mean, my main thing,
which I think that could be ways to do it, because it must be a pretty important interview that you're going to do. There must be something in that, because it wouldn't come through now in that way. What I was going to do was demonstrate something to you that may give a bit of, I don't know if it's guidance from somewhere else that's coming through, but what years ago, and I always go years ago because I'm an old bugger, you know that. Years ago, right, I was asked by a guy called Paul Bennett. He was an astro sort of like archaeologist, really, who did do a lot of work looking for old stone circles and things. He was into all of that. And he asked me years ago when I was doing the dowsing and the channeling and things, he said, there's an old stone circle on Oakley Moor, right, that's been lost to time. It was known in the Victorian era, but it sort of disappeared. And lots got broken down and pushed down, the stones were moved and things like that. But he wanted to know where the site was again. So he said, do you think you could pendulum dowse, on a map and find the site? Now, I thought that that's all I was doing, basically. And you'll see in a minute where this goes, where it ties in what you both just said. And what I found was, to cut a really long story short, this all took place over about a couple of years, was that, yeah, we found the stone circle. We actually found it, and it was a unique stone circle called Backstones, which there's only 2 of them in the whole of the UK, which are a double ring stone circle.
Wow.
And once it was recognised, the Bradford Archaeological Society went up there, mapped it all out, and now it is, it's called Backstone Circle, basically. So it's back in reality. People can recognise it again. That's what's really important, that things that get lost to time, with guidance, they can come back again. Have a think about that, okay? Because that's important. But what was more important was why that was all happening. At the same time, the same day, not the same week, the same day that I was up on Ilkley Moor Backstone Circle, the site, confirming that this place was real, down in Ilkley, in the town itself, which is only a couple of miles away, in the parish church, there was a congregation there, and they watched a golden sword come through the top of a vision of a golden sword come through the top of the church. They all saw it. There were dozens of people. It was in all the local papers, and it embedded itself like a King Arthur type sword, embedded itself in the centre aisle. Yeah. And they all thought it was a message from God, basically. They said, and people were getting words put into their mind as I watched this. One of them was, begin again here. At the same time, I'll just show you quickly. Let's reach for this so I'm not making it up on the hop. This was written years ago, 1989. The Circle and the Sword, little booklet I did. At the same time, AJ, I saw the sword appear at the circle. This circle, it was so real, you could put your hand out and grabbed it. On Ilkley Moor Square, there is a Viking era sword that is buried somewhere on the wall. Somebody today could go and look for that and they'll find it. It's there. It's not in the circle. That was just the mirror for where it could be, the area. And if you look back in history, you'll find that a lot of secret societies, occult groups, they've all been looking for this sword. I didn't know that at the time. I found out years later. So they had it. What I'm trying to get at is what was happening there was trying to give us a message to say, it doesn't matter what your religion is. Remember, it's Christianity in the church down in Ilkley. We were a pagan stone circle site, something way before Christianity appeared. The same thing was happening. And I got the impression that this was sort of like the sword of truth. It may even belong to a Viking king that visited the area called Hakon. Okay.
Oh, wow.
A thing called Quernbiter, which means to cut a stone in half.
Sorry, Nigel. Just repeat that last sentence. I pressed the wrong button and it muted you. I'm sorry. Say it again. My apology.
No, it's fine. The sword in its time, way back in 900 AD, Viking times, was known as Quernbiter, A quern is a big millstone that you find on the moors that they used to sharpen their knives on and grind corn on and things like that. Well, this sword was supposed to be so strong that it could cut the stone to the center eye. That's what it was. If you think about it, no male sword can cut a massive boulder to the center. But if you think about the message there, what's the center eye?
Yeah.
We all have the center eye.
Yeah.
And the third eye I saw was a sword of truth. So basically what the whole message encompassing is saying, it doesn't matter which site you're at, whether it's pagan, Christian, what religion, it doesn't matter. The truth matters, the essence of truth. That's all that matters.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. You know what?
Is there?
You know what's crazy?
I hope that ties into what can you see in a way what we've got this guy coming on. He's coming from a different angle completely to most Western ideologies, probably. But his message will be exactly the same, I would imagine.
Absolutely. And what I was telling Robin when I first met him was I said to him, I said, I've been doing a lot of experiments, been talking for spirit for a while. And in the beginning, I was, like everybody else, I thought this was all demons. I was scared to do this work. And then the experiences that led me to this path, after my near-death experience and what happened during my near-death experience, really opened up all of this. And spirit told me like how, it doesn't matter the religion or faith that you're following. It matters about love, and it matters about that's the truth that they were all talking about. There's so many synchronicities in every single mainstream religion that has one thing in common, which is there's a source, which is whether it's Allah, God, whatever. But not only that, but there's also, it's about love instead of being evil. And I believe, obviously, that free will, we have that choice to choose between that evil and that, love. And Spirit's been telling me it's about love. It's not just about like you going to church, because you can go to church every day, still be evil, and that's why I like learning all these different religions, because it goes to show that, like, we get condemned so much by, our religion, like, oh, I can't believe this, or I can't believe this, or I'm right and you're wrong because I believe this.
You don't even have to be over religious, do you?
No.
Principles of these. It's to do with respect, actually. That's all it is. I'm amazed at how many people that are involved in the paranormal do not respect the spirit world. Absolutely. Yet they'll work with it.
Yep.
And they expect things from it.
Yeah.
They demand from it. They'll do all these things, and really everything, even ideas, are energy. And respect is a massive energy. If you work, that's how people say to me, Nigel, when you've had a few different things happen to you, you must be making them all up. I swear to you, I've never made anything up ever. But you get a lot of experiences if you respect what you're doing. And I'll never forget, a spirit message would come through to me, and it said, to work with spirit, you've got to meet them halfway. You can't just, ask for them. Even when I do the spirit boxes now, I always say that I'm going to put my energy into this. I'm going to meet you halfway. Because you think about it, you've got a friend. AJ, if I said to you, I want to meet you, AJ, right? Get over to my house now.
Yeah.
You're going to start to think, well, why should I have to do all the effort? It's as simple as that. Because there's got to be respect there. And what we'd say is, basically, we'd say, well, we either meet halfway, or you do it first time and I'll do it next. You work it out so there's mutual respect there. And it's the same with the spirit world, definitely.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. Hey, Sean Coombe just said, exactly. I agree with the experience I had before doing paranormal is why I do this. To know more and to help share knowledge, and most of all, respect is key for me. And Sean, we can't agree with you.
Sean's got it. He's always out there.
Yeah, that intent right there is such a big aspect. I mean, when me and John Keyworth from JK47 went to Montana last May, I mean, we literally got on the ground. We literally put a knee on the ground. We kissed the ground, and we asked for all of the Indians that were here in this land before us to give our respect. And our medium is the one that told us that show that respect and watch your communication up. And I tell you what, that entire night, it was just back and forth communication. The best communication I've ever heard in my entire life from one of my experiences, doing the paranormal, which was absolutely amazing. But
It's
you're
right.
right; it has to do with that
AJ,
love.
it's like, you know this, AJ. It doesn't take a lot of effort for what you did there, but the respect is immense.
Yeah,
Isn't it what you did? It's immense respect. But it's not to just go down and kiss the ground and have that thought that you're giving that respect back to all those souls.
exactly.
It's immense from a little act. And that is so wonderful to what the spirits say and feel.
Yeah, no,
you know, that, I'm not trying to blow your trumpet for you. It's a simple. God, it doesn't take a lot of working out, that does it? It's so easy to do.
No, you're absolutely right, Nigel. You're absolutely right. Hey, I wanted to know. So we're obviously it's our.
You know what? I want to apologize just before you go on.
Good. I want to
Can
talk.
I just apologize? Whenever I get a bit like this, and I've gone really, a bit steamy.
No, I want you to
because
keep going.
Spirit and here, I work in that way, and like an energy feel.
Nigel, don't ever say sorry again, my friend. You're allowed to speak.
You know what I mean? I don't really think, good God, he's going a million miles an hour. It is like that.
Listen, Robin calls me 20 times a day for 4 hours at a time. I literally talk until my battery goes dead because I can't get him off the phone. So I'm not worried about it.
I think you're the one that calls me.
Oh, you wish. Anyway, what I wanted to do was I wanted to start the Spirit Box session with you and do the full demo having the FCD box work, because with the audio crackling back and forth, I don't know how much longer before we'll lose audio. So I want to do that. But again, to our viewers,
AJ, before you do, I'm going to nip and get my charger because my battery's running down.
You got it, man. Go ahead.
Okay, I'll be 2 seconds.
Yep.
In a bit.
So yeah, but what I was gonna say was, yeah, I don't care. We could talk forever, but I was just worried because of the way the audio has been, the way that Streamyard's been today for us.
AJ, also, I mean, don't get me wrong, it is a difficult one because just like we want to take the opportunity of getting information across, because it's not just about us three on here, it's getting over to the public, isn't it? Sometimes Spirit comes in and it wants that opportunity to do it too, and it'll use this opportunity. That's what I've found in the past.
Hey, Sean said, and by the way, Nigel, the box looks awesome behind you, man. Never seen them in action before. I will get one day. Well, Sean, you're about to see it in action right now. And like I said, contact me or contact Nigel directly. We'll help you out. We'll get you set up down the road whenever you'd like to, have one and have it out. But I tell you, I mean, for, just saying before, Nigel, the price of it, I mean, I paid the price of one Rem Pod for all you've got in that box. And I'm thinking to myself, money doesn't grow on the trees. I am so stupid, so that's why I love this company and I push this company just for spirit communication, because that's what I focus on. And I just love what you're doing, man. I truly love it.
I don't want you, it's easy for me to say that about the boxes, but I can actually not prove it, but show you in another way. I mean, my books here, the books I've written, AJ, on subjects over the years, we're talking 250 pages. I've written illustrated color illustrations, and I don't sell them because I want people to be able to afford them. I don't sell them for the same price as you'll see on Amazon and that. I sell them for probably half, because at the end of the day, you can't win though. I mean, I've got so many people that will say, well, because like with the boxes, because they're cheap, in price, I mean, not in quality, that there must be no good. No. If I put them up 4 times as much, everybody would say they're fantastic, quality.
Yeah.
It's a really silly thing. But what I can show people, and I do on the website and on Etsy where we sell them, is the reviews from people who use them and they say what they're like. That's all that matters, really. They say what they like.
Absolutely. And also Nigel's boxes, FCD Ghost Boxes, has actually been on Ghost Dimensions, which is on I believe Prime, Pluto TV, and a couple other things. You could check them out, Ghost Dimensions, and they've used FCD boxes. And I tell you, that was in a earlier version, way earlier version, correct?
Yeah, one of the first ones I ever did, really. I mean, the first ones they ever did were basically unsellable. They were just little project boxes, with the idea inside them and a couple of stickers on. But it wasn't about even selling them at first. It was about me getting a device, going up on the moors and trying to communicate with ETs. That's the whole purpose was there. For that.
I know, right? It's so amazing, like how you were not even really in the ghost spirit type, era in the beginning.
Not really to begin with. But,
no,
but it all overlaps. It all overlaps anyway.
no, absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. Like I
I've
said,
been, when we worked at the Settle Portal, AJ, we were
Yeah.
dealing with, and by the way, I watched Two-Face the other day on your
How was
recommendation.
that?
Brilliant, really good. Yeah, really good.
Did you watch the first one though? No, Sir No Face.
No, I haven't. I saw the second one. Two-Face, is it?
Okay, you're supposed to watch Sir No Face first because they think it's.
I found that out at the end of it.
Yeah. So for all the viewers that don't know what we're talking about, Chad
That's
Caleb,
right,
who was
yeah.
on Paranormal State, he's a documentary filmmaker, also a paranormal investigator for like over 30 years, I believe, or 30 years, and he came out with a 2 documentaries. One is called Sir No Face, which basically in Australia they go to Sydney's Harbor, Cockatoo Island. A team gets called in for 2 years by the government, and they catch this apparition on camera, the best apparition they ever caught. Well, as they're previewing it, this guy approaches him all over the US. This guy comes with a folder, and it ends up being something completely different that has to do with the UFO field in the second documentary, which is Two-Face the Gray. So check out that on Discovery Plus. It's an amazing 2 documentaries. Chad Kalick is absolutely amazing. We're hoping to get him on.
This one, definitely.
Yeah, you got to watch it because I was shocked when I saw Two-Face the Gray. I was like, wow. But definitely check those out to our viewers out there. I wonder, is Robin get his? There's Robin. Let me put him back in.
Yeah, can I just say, Nigel, as well?
Yeah.
When you're writing them books from now on, including the ones that you've done, can you do them in just like in picture books as well for AJ? Because
Oh man, I'm gonna get this dude.
Ladybird book format.
Yeah.
Pictures.
That's coming from Robin. Hey, that's coming from Robin.
In this one. Do you know what? I don't know why we never made a documentary of this, because the amount of evidence we got was unbelievable. In 2 years span,
Pictures, AJ.
in Walker Ranch.
Yeah.
We're getting loads of stuff, but it's hard to explain. You almost become part of the environment. It's like expected to happen. It was very odd.
Yeah.
You never went there, never got anything. It was very funny, But we still got it from the UFO community. Oh, the fakes are making it all up. But they would never come and be with us. Like I've invited you, AJ, if we ever get a chance, take you up there. They would never come. They were happy to sit on the keyboards and call you a fake.
Yeah.
And every single one of those people that accused of that, we asked them to come with us and spend time with us and look at
keyboard warriors.
Yeah,
keyboard warriors.
Because they know that if something happened, I don't think they'd cope with it very well. And secondly, they'd have to admit that their narcissism towards you, because that's what it is in a lot of cases, isn't justified, and they'd never want that to happen. So it's easy just to go on with that narrative, oh, it's fake, it's a fake, it's fake. We got to the point, I told you in the last show, that me and Ellen, when you're not faking anything, and you're definitely getting some sort of communication on there, it was bad enough having people that were from, like, I'm not going to say the society because I don't want to happen all again. Basically, we've moved away from the area and we don't have that problem anymore. But there was a society in the area that was well aware of what we were doing. And a bit like with the Two-Face documentary, AJ, we were being watched and followed. And we had quite a lot of, well, I'm not going to say direct death threats, but veiled ones to stop doing what we were doing, which... nobody else does with that. We're in this because we're trying to find out information. We're not doing it for some sort of great, crusade.
Of course.
And, well, it is a crusade in a way, a live crusade. But what I'm getting at is, I had to consider my wife, Helen, and other members of my family. My sons used to go up there and help. They do the videoing sometimes. And they get threats. And the malicious accusations of people.
What's wrong with people?
It sounds like I'm being egotistic, but I'm not. Do you really think you could just write a book and all this out of thin air? Tell me the truth. Could you just sit down tonight and get all these photographs and video evidence and things?
Yeah.
Right, 50 page. It could have been bigger than that because to leave some evidence out. But, you know, you couldn't just do it because you're making it up. And there's a time span of a long time. But these people don't realise the amount of dedication and work that you put into that, because you've got to do to get the results. They just get jealous. They get jealous. They don't want to do anything, but they want the results.
Yeah,
it's kind of like you were saying a little while ago when earlier on in the podcast. It's like it's the whole thing. People don't want to say what's going on, and people don't want to believe it and stuff. You know, I mean, I remember I told you in the last one I had a UFO experience. I've told very little or nobody really because people don't believe you and people just call you mad and stuff like that. I know what I've seen and stuff like that, but I haven't said anything about it because you just get the people that come up there and go, "Oh, a load of nonsense." You know.
Robin, you get to a point where it doesn't really matter what they believe, does it? At the end
it doesn't.
of the day,
I know what I've seen.
You had it. It's your experience.
Yeah.
And, you know, I got to that stage. I used to be for years, because of the nature of the person I'm trying to prove everything. It drove me and probably my family, you know, mad because of the obsession of trying to I knew it was real, but I was trying to convince other people all the time it was real and couldn't see. They just weren't ready for that. They're not. It's not their fault in a lot of cases. They just haven't got that ability to take it in.
No, you're absolutely right. You know, there's a whole thing, like, to me, right? Like,
that sounds really bad, that, doesn't it? I don't mean they've got the ability to take it in, AJ. I mean, they haven't. How can I put it? They've got like a block because of their education, the social status that they have, how they were brought up, what beliefs they have. There's lots of factors that can build a bit of a wall to stop them from seeing things. Now, luckily enough, I feel, and like you, AJ, that I was able to break those barriers down, and you can look at it more openly, you know.
Hey, listen, I just want to say thank you real quick to Crazy Girl Oddities and Adventures. We're going to be doing actually a Spirit Box session in literally 1 minute. I just want to make this last comment before I have him turn on the box.
Yeah, hang around for this because you'll like it.
If not, thank you so much, Crazy Girl Oddities and Adventures, for you know, stopping by. We really appreciate you. But Nigel, what I want to say to you real quick was I was one of those skeptical people. Okay, I was one of those skeptical people so badly that I was even skeptic after I had my near-death experience. It took me a very long time and a lot of doctors to make sure that I actually was seeing something that I knew that I wasn't crazy or having schizophrenic or whatever. And I tell you what, it took all the way to the point where I died 12 times. The last time I had my near-death experience that I left my body and I remember everything. And not only that, it took until months after until my entire family saw a full-body solid apparition evaporate in our dining room while everyone was there. And I tell you, it was phenomenal. But then I knew when all them saw it, I knew then that that was my believing point. So I get the skeptical thing. But the thing is, it's one thing just to be skeptical, but it's another to be a like one of those skeptics where you don't have any open mind to it and you don't want to hear anything. That's the one thing that gets to be very tough. But Nigel, let's stop real quick because it's already 1:23. I want to do a quick 10-minute session.
Okay, do you want to ask questions, AJ? If I put the box on, do you guys want to ask questions and we can listen and see what comes through?
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. I'll turn the thing on. I hope I tuned it in okay. I don't know if I did. I'm going to try it.
Anyone who's watching, feel free to put some questions in the comments.
Right, I've turned it down just for now. If you want to, I want to ask on Spirit to actually come through to the box this evening.
Hey, could you bring it a little bit closer?
See what comes through. Thank you.
Bring it a little closer, Nigel, for us. Stay with us. Hey, is that doing it, Nigel?
Did you hear that then, near death?
Yeah, hey, Nigel, did you have to tune it again, or was it already tuned?
I think I need to tune it again, actually. Yeah,
I was gonna say, 'cause
guy.
I was gonna say it was clearer before, so yeah, maybe
I'm
I
getting a lot of static, you know, with no.
Yeah, but I heard that though. Yeah. And Sean, feel free, man, to write a question in the comment.
Absolutely, Sean.
There we go.
Just a
Cool.
sec, guys, while I just redo it.
Yep. Hello, hello.
This is just the tuning process at the moment, AJ.
Oh, okay.
It'll take a couple of seconds. Sorry about this.
No, you're good.
It's picking up all the information from the area, including FM stations.
Crazy Girl Oddities, I want to let you know, yes, this is actually a Spirit Box portal as well as a radio scanning adjustable radio box. So if you could hook your own apps into it, your own devices into it, has reverb. But yes, I actually have my own through Lunchbox Junior Amp, just like Sean Coombe does. And just like how you see with Josh Lewis from Hope Paranormal and all those guys. Hold on one sec, Sean. I'm going to ask you that question. You let me know when you're all set, Nigel.
Okay, mate. 2 seconds. I do find that I don't know if it's because I'm right near the monitor and I've got these lights on, but it's picking up a lot of static in here.
Yeah, I know. It's all good. The static over here, that's why I've been putting you on solo and stuff, because the static has been calming down a little.
2 seconds, guys. If you can
Yeah, no problem.
Your way through it.
Yeah, absolutely. Take your time, my friend.
It was something, you know, it'll work fine. Just give me 2 seconds. Yeah. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to strengthen the aerial, which will take a second.
Yeah, no problem. But yeah, Crazy Girl Oddities and Adventures, that's what I was saying. That actually does work just like a portal as well. You could hook up you know, your apps to it, your other Spirit Boxes to it. Like Nigel said earlier, it has a way for you to record straight into a computer or anything with an aux out, which is nice. It's like a all-in-one thing, but I do have my own separate Spirit Box portal that I built myself with the help of my other host, Steve O. Hopkins. Well, if you ever need help, please message me on Facebook. My personal Facebook is AJ Capasso. I'll put my name back up on the screen real quick so you can take it down. Hold on one sec. Oh, hold on. Sorry about that. There you go. AJ, last name Capasso, or you can go to Coventry Circle Paranormal and message me.
There's a lot of static in here tonight. I don't know what's causing it, but
it's all good, my friend. It's all good. If you could turn it up though a little.
I can turn it up, but all you're going to hear is all this static. I don't know why. There's almost like this sea of static keeps coming through.
You know what's so weird is when we demo
it never picks that up, which is really
I know. It's so funny because that wasn't happening when you demoed it before.
No. And it's not the Rem Pod because it's not even turned on. I think what we're going to have to do is just try it like that.
Yeah, let's try it like that.
Properly.
Absolutely.
To revisit it. Bit better, guys.
There we go. All right. Hello, spirits. This is from Sean Combs. How many spirits are here with us tonight? Face it towards the camera, Nigel, if you could. Nigel, face it towards the camera. There you go.
The only thing when I do that is when I get that wave of static coming through.
Oh yeah, it's probably picking up your.
I don't know why it's doing that.
Yeah, keep it. Yeah.
We're not even getting any sort of like different voices come through.
Drina, if you're here with us, my guide, Drina and David Raul, can you come through and say your name through Nigel's box?
Sure, I can, it said.
How many spirits are here with us?
Right, guys. What I'm going to have to do, we can just stop it for a sec. Are you all there?
Yeah.
Yeah. Listen, hey, listen.
I think we're going to have to revisit it because, to be quite honest with you, I don't know whether something has gone wrong with it or if there's a static field in here.
No.
There's something that's not allowing. No, it's on the tuning side of it.
It's not you. It's not you. It's not you. Yeah, it's not you. It's actually, we're getting a lot of static interference anyway. So that's why we got. Yeah, so it's no big deal.
What we could do is reschedule. It doesn't have to be a show, okay?
Yeah.
We can get together and do it. I'll have a look at it and see what the problem is.
I don't think it's a problem with that, Nigel. As like the AJ says, we've got a lot of static. I mean, even Sean's come through and says it's happened to him as well. There's a lot of static for some reason tonight.
Even me as a person, as I mentioned earlier, I'm finding it very, intense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, it's crazy. Today has just been a weird thing with StreamYard all in general and the static that's been coming through, because normally StreamYard doesn't have static, just like last time it was clear. So it's no big deal. I mean,
I apologize, guys, for not getting anything. I mean, I tested it before we came on the show and everything was fine.
Honestly, it's all right. It's nothing to do with the box. It's the static, I mean, because we know, and we're not just saying this, but we know that all your stuff is 100%. I mean, like I say, I've even got that, and they're all 100%. So it's not as if it's something went wrong. It's just even now when you are talking on mine, I can hear like crackling in the background.
Yep, absolutely.
Well, I'll tell you very quickly what happens when you tune in to that area. You pick up at least 10 local area stations that then it cuts down with the wave generator in it into snippets of clear audio. Well, I'm not even getting 2.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Well, listen, it out completely.
Nigel, it's no big deal. We'll reschedule. We'll do a spirit box session another day. Not a big deal. Also, when me and Robin get our boxes too, we're going to be doing sessions. We're going to be doing sessions on here anyway. So I apologize to the viewers that we weren't able to do it, but don't worry, we'll get it scheduled for next week. We'll figure something out. I'm going to do a couple sessions with different devices, so it'll work out. So when you're free next week, Nigel, we'll talk after. But I want to thank you so much for coming on. Everybody go check out FCD .c or fcdboxes.co.uk. That's FCD Ghost Boxes. Nigel's company. You see it at the bottom, strolling at the bottom. He's got some great devices on there, great books on there, other great spiritual paranormal things. Nigel, thank you for coming on, my friend.
Yes, Nigel, thank you. Always a pleasure.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Lovely talking to you guys.
We will definitely be talking to you soon, my friend. So I will talk to you a little bit later.
Not a problem.
All right, my man. Have a
See
good
ya.
night.
Bye.
Wow, man. So see, look, is your static still going?
Yeah, it's still crackling.
Yeah, a little. Okay, but not as much because there was a lot of static coming from his way, which is all good. I mean, it happens. Like I said, we've been having problems with StreamYard since we tried to log on today. So not a big deal.
When I talked to you earlier, just on normal messenger call, video call, it was fine. As soon as we got on the StreamYard, it's been crackling the whole time.
It's a, and I'm also too, I'm sitting near the, go. If you're gonna come in this way, go. Sorry, it's my little niece. I'm sitting near the door a different way than I normally sit, so it could be picking up interference and stuff because the Wi-Fi here is terrible a little bit. But I just wanted to say thank you guys for watching. We will be doing live spirit box sessions during the week, most likely next week. So I will put a post up. So follow us on Talking with the Source on Facebook. Also, make sure to check out everybody's podcast on Parapost Network Central on Facebook. Give the family Mr. and Mrs. AP on AAP Variety Channel. I'm sorry, AAP Variety Channel on YouTube. They are awesome. They help teams and channels grow. And we just want to say thank you guys for tuning in, and we will see you guys next time.
Thank you. Yep. See you soon.
Later, guys. Thanks for tuning in and Talking with the Source.